Right, I've literally just got set up, just got the rods out. Before I'd even had a chance to get the camera turned on, I've hooked into what I think is my first bream. It is a bream. Back of the net. What a stunning fish. Unfortunately the sun is behind me and it's going to be for a little while until it rises higher, but we'll try and do our best. Literally I've had the rods out for 10 minutes, long enough to get 2 rods set up. And my first fish of the day is the target species. I'm just all marred up in this net now. It always happens when you're not prepared, doesn't it? Literally I've just got my rods out. Now, get rid of that. What a cracker that is. There's a hook hold there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but this part here, see the gold on its forehead? That's why it's called a Gilthead Bream. Got some stunning colours on them, and you can see they're all fin and side, aren't they? They fight really well. I'll get this one in a bucket to get it recovered. One will call this mad of tangles with the net. Now, I am in an estuary mark and it's early morning and the tide is flooding. Oh, come on, yeah. What drama I have with this net. I hate this net. I prefer not to have one on the boat if I can just land a fish by picking it up. But quite often these bream are only lightly hooked. There we go. That was all the rig was there, look. It was just straight onto my main line. I have a little bullet lead that's locked in, and I have a trace of about 1.5 foot of 25-pound fluoro, and on that I had a 2.0 specimen extra. Now I'm fishing chinos and specimen extras, but get that down out of the way. I want to get recast out because bream are a shoaling fish, and where there is one there will be more. I've just got some hook lengths pre-made up, so all you need to do is just unwind them off. And all I'm going to be using, a mixture of ragworm and peeler crab. All you do is you take your hook, take your ragworm, and I was just feeding 2 ragworms up the hook. Like that. And there you go, it's about like 1.5 feet. That's the rig. As simple as that. Right, I'm going to tidy myself up and then we'll get that fish out and have another look at it. I'm getting a bite on this rod. I've got my rod set with the drag of this light, and there's a fish tugging on this now. I just saw a couple of bangs like that. bream generally, usually, have got a real aggressive bite and take. A little schooly bass are like rattle and rattle and rattle. A bream is usually like a bump. So what I'm waiting for it to do is I'm just trying to take up some of the slack line, and then when I feel a real good douche, lift into it. Oh, there it is again. I'll give it a chance to try and figure out what it wants to do. But yeah, it was like a see, bream, when they take a bait, sometimes they'll just pick it up and scream off. And other times they pick it up and hold it in their mouth and swim for a bit. So if you've got a slack drag, they can move for a little bit. Because when they pick it up and move off, if they feel any resistance, sometimes they just drop it. That fish is probably recovered now. So I will, I've got a rod set up back of his ear. I don't have a chance to set it up properly. I'll show you their mouths. They've got a really hard mouth, really strong teeth, so you need to use really strong hooks. I'm trying to do everything really quietly, because I'm only in about 10 feet of water, and up on the edges is probably only 2 feet of water. So any bangs that I make on the boat, or not like loud noises talking, could spook the fish. It is going to be a stunning day. It's just a shame that the sun's right where I want to be. I'll try and keep the camera in shadow if I can, so that you can see what's going on. All I'm doing at the moment is I'm making a few baits up. I'm making a few spare baits up, so that as soon as I reel one in, I can just unclip it and then clip on a fresh one and get it out. But this is the size of the peeler crab baits that I'm making. It's just half a peeler crab body, and I'm going to put a couple of legs on the top. This sun really isn't like in the wrong place. So what I might try and do is I might try and re-anchor so that we're across the tide and the sun's at one of our sides. We'll see. We'll give it another half an hour for the tide to fully pick up, see which way it's going to go. That's weird. That's twice now someone's bitten that and left it. You never know, might come back. I missed that. That was a screaming bite. Just went zzz, zzz, and as I turned around to check camera, I've missed it. There we go. Ah, I missed that one as well. They are there. See what I mean? You heard the reels go. That's the type of bite you get off them. Oh, I don't know what this one is. That's why it wouldn't commit. A little schooly bass. That's why I couldn't get this one to commit to the bite. Ah, but that other one was a bream. Felt it, felt the weight of the fish. There you go, a little schooly bass. That's annoying. tip section of my rod snapped. Look at the eye on here. And to lose it on a schoolie is even more annoying. Right, hopefully that's a bit better. I've swung the boat right round, just so the sun's not facing straight at the camera. That was all a little bit jumbled. Hello, welcome back to the fish locker, out on the boat. We are up in an estuary and we are fishing for bass and bream. Now that I can properly show you, this is what we're fishing for. See that gold bar there between its eyes? That's why it's called the Gilthead Bream. Now I've just had this one on the scales and it come in at £2.4. So it's not a bad sized fish. I think they're absolutely stunning. Now unfortunately what I'm going to have to do is I am going to have to swing the boat back on a stern anchor just to keep us right. I've just swung it out to be able to show you this fish and to be able to say hello properly. They are a cracking fish. If you'll open his mouth for you and you can see, they have got like really strong crushing teeth, and they've got some massive fins that they use really well. They do give a cracking bite and they fight really well. They are also a very nice eating fish. I'm keeping this guy alive here in a bucket in the hope that if I catch one more, I will keep one for the table. If this is going to be the only one that I catch, I am going to let him go. Not for any other reason than because I want to. Because he's a nice looking fish and because I want to let it go. We have a beautiful morning. Just I'm not going to complain because the sun's out, because it's raining half the time. Just the sun's in the wrong position to be able to do a proper video. You can see now why the amount of swinging about, why I have a stern anchor out. Unfortunately the stern anchor means that I'm pointing at the sun. Choose between one or two things: good video or good fishing. I'm sorry, but I'm going to choose the good fishing. The bait that I've got straight out on the side of the boat just had two real good knocks on it. I'll keep getting like real good knocks and then nothing. And I think it is just schoolie bass. But it's one of those things in it you should never assume. Because the one time when you think, it'll just be a little one, you end up fluffing it and it ends up being a brilliant fish. I don't know if you can hear the noise, the topping, there's a little shoal of mullet just kind of messing around in the surface. Just won't commit. Give it a chance to see what it does. This feels like another good fish. It's another bream. Slightly smaller this time. Oh, just pooped on my hand and all over the seat in the boat. There you go, peeler crab and ragworm. This one's probably £1.50. Still a stunning fish, isn't it? Don't know how well you can see those teeth in there. Going up. Ah! Whoa. Now look, those teeth. Proper crushing teeth for like crushing shells and crabs. And fingers, so be careful. Bream number 2. There you go. Unclip the old trace, clip on a new pre-baited one. Oh. Missed it. No, it's still there. Might be a schoolie bass. Came back for that a few times. Off like a shot. Yeah. Came in high. Another little schoolie bass. These are covered in spikes. Each one of these is a spine. Every fin. They're a pretty fish. There you go. Take the old hook length off. Clip a new one on. This is a mixture of peeler crab legs and ragworm. Like I was saying earlier, I was getting like lots of little knocking bites, like just 1 or 2 knocks. Thought it was schoolies, and all I did was I just left it for it to hook itself, and that was what it was. Bream seemed to take like a big screaming run, like the couple that you heard earlier on. Bream, they move in with a flooding tide, and they're a shoreline fish, so you will catch a few at a time. Well, if you can capitalise on it, because they'll all hang around together and move in together. And then when the bites drop off, it means that they've moved past you. Now you will get a couple of different runs of bream. You will also catch them as they run back out. We will keep fishing for possibly another couple of hours. I've never really fished well for bream over like high water. It's always been like the earlier hours of the flood. So I don't think we'll fish to high water. We'll call it a day before then. Oh. Feels like a little schoolie bass. Another little spiky silver bait robber. God, that hook's really in there. There you go. Got a peeler crab bait on now. I'm going to tip it with a little bit of ragworm. Just because I can. That was an almost instantaneous bite. Sometimes I wonder if they're a little bit like flounder, and that they're spurred on by a little bit of movement. Because there's been a few times before where I've wound in a little bit of slack and just tightened up, and it's just bumped the lead once and the fish has had it. Or like then, that I'd literally just cast out and just tightened up to it. Because when you're flounder fishing, if you haven't had a bite for a while, all you do is just give it 2 or 3 winds. That just moves the bait on the bottom, so it disturbs it all, and it's like a trigger to see it moving. Still there pecking at it, whatever it is. Could be a little tiny bream. Probably just going to be a little schoolie. There are 3 types of bream that you can catch in this area: black bream, couch bream, gilthead bream. The giltheads and the couches, you can catch them up to 4 or 5 pound. There have been bigger ones caught, but that's generally the max of what you're going to catch them at. The black bream in this area are usually like the size of your hand, and they've only got really small mouths, so these little tiny pecking bites could be them. You could try scaling right down to little tiny hooks, but I'm not gonna. And there's 3 shell ducks. They're nice to see. Calm periods like this, I used to bait up more rigs, and also in areas like this you are going to get crabs, so you have to keep cycling the baits out. So I generally give it 10 minutes. 10 minutes and I'll do one, and then 10 minutes and I'll do another, and 10 minutes and do another. So by the time I've done it, they've had half an hour each. And you just gauge it. If the baits are being stripped after that amount of time, you need to check them sooner. Also, as the tide's flooding in now, we're getting a little bit of weed on the line. Another lovely little schoolie bass on a bunch of ragworms. Ooh. It's got me with them spines. Just spiked me with one of these spines. Don't know if you can see it there in my thumb. You get quiet periods like this, and that's just because the fish have moved through. Now we might get another shoal of them coming through, and we might catch them as some of them move around. It's a nice day to be out catching the odd fish. This longer rod I put down at distance. I casted it to about 70 yards behind the boat. It's another schoolie bass. There you go. Gorgeous looking fish, aren't they? Let's get him back. Unfortunately, that is also what you have to contend with. There's the hook, there's the bait. Great spider crab. Now he's big enough to take, he's big enough to eat. But the best of the meat's in the claws, and he's only got one claw. Look at him. Not what you want. It's getting to the point now where we haven't had a fish in a while, and the tide is rising to the top of the flood. Oh. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fish these last baits out. I'm going to give these baits another 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll pack up. Especially if I'm going to be catching more spider crabs. Right, well it's about time to pack up. I've just pulled all the lines in, and we'll have a quick look. Picked the perfect time to leave, because literally just after I got the last line in, the seal turned up as well. And the hooks are that bare. So the crabs have just come on the feed as well. The rigs that I was using today was either just a very standard sliding ledger rig like that, with about 2 foot of hook length, and a 2/0 specimen extra hook. These are, I was using between 1 ounce and 2 ounces of lead. Just a little slider. We did catch 2 bream. That was the main target species. We also caught a bycatch of schoolie bass. Now I did somehow manage to snap the tip section off one of my rods, which is a bit disappointing, but this rod has lived a long life. I mean, you can see I've already repaired a couple of the eyes, and the reel seat's starting to go, so I think I might retire this rod. The fish that we caught it on ragworm and peeler. Now I fished ragworm on its own, I fished peeler on its own, and I fished ragworm and peeler, and all combinations caught fish. If I'd have known that, I would have probably just brought ragworm, because it's cheaper than peelers. Of the 2 bream, I returned one and I kept one. I kept one purely because it is a delicious eating fish. And look at him, still there he is. Stunning, isn't it? The colours on that face there, I hope you can get to see. The golden bar across its nose is why it's called a gilt-head. It's got bright pink, and all of these here have got a spine in them. It's also got a spine on the back of its gill. You see its teeth there. That is why you need to use strong hooks, because they can crush weaker hooks. So I either use a chinu or a specimen extra. So it was either, where are we going? A chinu like that, or a specimen extra like that. A heavier gauge hook and a very good point. It was I was going to say, not a very organised start, because just as I'd got the rod set out, before I'd even had a chance to turn the camera on, we had our first fish. And then the sun was looking straight down on the camera. I hope that hasn't spoilt it too much. It's unfortunately, it's just one of those things. The way that the tide was running in and the way that the wind was going, I couldn't have fished any other way. It is what it is. You've just got to make the best of a bad situation, haven't you? We have had a lovely morning out fishing. We've what time is it now? Been fishing for 3 hours, and we've still got the best part of the day left, so I consider that an absolute win. I hope this has been interesting for you. I'm going to get my beautiful wife to do a delicious catch and cook with that bream, so look out for that video. All the best. We'll see you later.